Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The controversy over new parliament is refusing to die down, or at least a showdown over the new parliament. Total 20 parties have now decided to boycott the inauguration ceremony. A plea has also been filed in Supreme Court demanding that the inauguration be done by President of India. But not all opposition parties have refused to attend. BSP chief Mayawati says boycotting the event is unfair and the government has every right to unveil the new parliament as they are the ones to build it. YSRCP chief and Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Janata who will also be attending the ceremony, says that opposition parties should set aside differences and attend the event, as boycotting it is not in the true spirit of democracy. Meanwhile, the BJP has also upped the ante against the opposition. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reminded the opposition that time and again they have abused and insulted the current President of India. BJP has already listed out instances when governors were excluded from the inauguration or foundation-laying ceremonies of even state assemblies, which were instead done by chief ministers or National Congress leaders. Already, we know that former prime ministers like Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi have inaugurated or laid the foundation stone of certain sections of parliament as it stands today when they were in power. Add to that the fact that current opposition has on various occasions boycotted even the president's speech in parliament. So is this really about giving respect to the president, as they say, or is it purely about opposing the current Prime Minister, Narendra Modi? We'll take that direct question to our guest in just a bit. First, let's take a deeper look at this plea that has been filed in the Supreme Court by Advocate C.R. Jaya Sukin, objecting against Prime Minister Modi unveiling the new parliament. The plea claims that the government of India has not respected and has violated the Constitution of India. Petitioner claimed that the inauguration ceremony being done by Prime Minister Modi violates Article 21, 79 and 87 of the Constitution, which deal with powers of the President. Petitioner reminded that the President was kept away from the foundation-laying ceremony, and now the President is also being kept away from the inauguration ceremony. And the petitioner asked the court to direct the Lok Sabha Secretariat to get the new parliament building inaugurated at the hands of the President of India. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi returned back to India after his three-nation trip, which included Australia. And coming back, he actually took a slight jibe at the opposition party when he talked about the diaspora event that he attended in Australia, and talked about how it wasn't just the current Prime Minister, even former Prime Minister and opposition members of Australia and Australian politics attended that event, and that's how it should be. Listen.
भारतीय समुदाय का जो कार्यक्रम था, वहां ऑस्ट्रेलिया के प्रधानमंत्री का आना गौरव की बात थी। लेकिन इतना ही नहीं, उस समारोह में पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री भी थे। उस समारोह में पूरी अपोजिशन पार्टी के मेंबर से, रूलिंग पार्टी के मेंबर से, ये लोकतंत्र का वातावरण ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लोग में भारतीयों के प्रति, चाहे पक्ष सत्ता का हो, चाहे पक्ष विपक्ष का हो, सबके सब मिलजुल करके भारतीय समुदाय के इस कार्यक्रम में उतने ही उमंग और उत्साह के साथ शरीक हुए थे।
As I mentioned, by now the BJP has already listed out many occasions where additional parliament buildings were inaugurated by former prime ministers of the Congress party. They've even listed out occasions when Congress leaders who had no government positions also inaugurated state assemblies. But here is more. If this is truly about respect for the president, then why was the opposition boycotting the president's speeches in parliament all of these years? In November 2019, 18 opposition parties led by the Congress skipped the president's event on the special address on Constitution Day. In January 2021, 18 opposition parties, including the Congress, TMC, DMK, NCP, boycotted the President Ramnath Kovind's speech ahead of the budget. Later that same year, 13 opposition parties, led by Congress again, skipped Constitution Day event in Parliament. And earlier this year, in January 2023, BRS and Aam Aadmi Party had boycotted President Murmu's speech in Parliament. That leads us to a big debate today. Is this opposition boycott call truly about showing respect for the president and fighting for it, or is it purely about opposing current Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
पक्ष सत्ता का हो चाहे पक्ष विपक्ष का हो, सबके सब मिलजुल करके भारतीय समुदाय के इस कार्यक्रम में उतने ही उमंग और उत्साह के साथ शरीक हुए थे।
Leaders belonging to these very same opposition parties spoke ill of her, abused her, and today suddenly they become morally motivated.
Because of the arrogant nature of this government, they are not ready to do that. They are insulting the president, they are insulting the women of the country, they are insulting the tribals of this country.
All right, let's go across to the guests joining us. Vineet Goenka from the BJP, Ikram Singh Sandhu from the Congress Party, Abhinandita Mathur is from the Aam Aadmi Party, and Sangeet Ragi, RSS supporter, is also with us, professor as well. Let me begin with Ikram. Ikram, is it not fair to ask that when the Congress Party and other opposition parties have repeatedly, as I mentioned, boycotted the president's speech, which the president gives to all parliamentarians every financial year ahead of the budget session, then why are you making such a big deal about respect to president? Have you truly shown respect to the president's post in the past?
Good evening to all. Shivani, when the president addresses the joint parliament session of the joint parliament, it's a political activity. The address that she gives is on the advice of the cabinet. So therefore, it is a political boycott. And it's not that Congress is the only party which has done. BJP has done it umpteen number of times. They have boycotted address when Pranab Mukherjee gave address during the 2G Colgate issue, and many times before that, when Mr. Jaitley famously said that not agreeing to parliamentary norms is the right of the opposition.
Fair enough. The reason I ask you this is today you are reminding everybody that president is the head of state. President is also the head of parliament. The president convenes the session every year. If so much importance is accorded to the president, by your words, why did you boycott his or her speech? Is that not then respect to parliamentary democracy itself?
As I'm telling you, Shivani, it is a political step. There are certain things which are political and there are certain things which are ceremonial. Now, ceremonial things are somewhere where everybody comes together. As far as ceremonial things are concerned, that is a time when we do not play politics.
But is the president giving a speech to the joint session of parliament also not ceremonial?
Sometimes when you put up political dissent, that is the way it has been going on for the last 75 years. Since the time India has become a parliamentary democracy, the opposition did it throughout from the 50s onwards. The opposition has always done it. So while we are in opposition, we are well within our rights to do it.
So now, BJP is saying, fair enough, the BJP is saying that you, when you were in power, by you I mean Congress Party, your prime ministers also inaugurated or laid the foundation stone of various additional buildings. Sonia Gandhi, who had no position in government, inaugurated state assemblies. So then when you did this at that time, why are you opposing to the Prime Minister inaugurating the new Parliament building? Then the same should go for everyone.
When we talk about the Parliament, it was not the Sanctum Sanctorium that was being inaugurated. It was a library. It was a shed which was there to keep cars. It was, an annexy where offices were there. Those were the ones which were inaugurated. It was not the Sanctum Sanctorium where the proceedings of the parliament that are taking place that was inaugurated by anybody in Congress.
But what about state assemblies? New state assemblies were inaugurated. Why by Congress leaders or the Prime Minister of the day? Why not by the governor of the state?
The Prime Minister in the order of precedence is above the governor. If the chief minister of a state does it, then it is an issue. If the prime minister does it,
also done it. There are instances of chief ministers also doing it.
They laid the foundation stones, but never the inauguration has been done. When you're talking about what the chief ministers did, it was foundation stone. So therefore, when Prime Minister Modi also laid the foundation stone in 2020, the issue that we were against is why are you doing it now when the country is in the midst of a pandemic? We did not at that time oppose it because he did it. But right now, the inauguration is happening. This is the culmination of an activity. And this is where we believe that the president should come in, being the first citizen of the country. It is her right and it is an honorable moment where the president should be doing it.
Okay.
Bipartisan and who represents the whole nation.
No, but I don't understand. Fair enough what you're saying. If the president is supposed to be bipartisan, what logic dictates that you should boycott her speeches? I don't get it. Then accord the same respect to the ceremonial role that the president has as far as parliament functioning is concerned. The fact that the president opens the session every financial year is ceremonial. The president doesn't sit in the parliament otherwise. But in any case, you've responded on that. Let Vineet Goenka come in.
I told you.
Let Vineet Goenka come in.
And of course, if you hold that against it,
No, I'm not holding that against you. I'm just saying that equal standards need to be employed, one to all sides and on all occasions. But let Vineet Goenka respond to you.
Shivani ji, Ram Ram to you, Ram Ram to all my co-panelists, and Ram Ram to the viewers who are watching this. Basically, the parties with feudal and the anarchist behavior have opposed anything and everything which brings prestige, pride to this nation. Then be it renaming of the race course into Lok Kalyan Marg or installing of Netaji's statue at near the India Gate, they have been always opposing and insulting the nation. When we were celebrating the war heroes and National War Memorial, the Samar Smarak was been made. They opposed it. They were thinking that this is not good. Rather, if I tell you, even when the Rajpath was renamed as Kartavya Path, they opposed it. I don't know why they opposed it. And I was hurt when they actually opposed Ambedkar International coming at Janpat, saying that Indira ji ke jagah ke samne Ambedkar ji ki kaise ek pratima ban sakti, kaise ek wahan pe bhavan ban sakta hai. Now, these are the people who come from that feudal thinking. Now, let me remind my Congress friend, they have three gentlemen in their party, and he has to explain to us what did Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary ji speak about the Honorable President. Wasn't that insult of this thing? And what about Dr. Ajay Kumar? He was one of the ministers of your state government. He, in fact, named us something which cannot be named by a common person. We cannot use. And Dr. Udit Raj spoke something which I would not like even to speak for an enemy country person. Forget about this thing. These are your people. And who you talk about respects of the constitutional things, your own member of parliament, your own past president, or of the ordinance of elected Prime Minister, then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji. So, sir, you have been insulting. You always take pride in insulting. You never get pride in participating on this thing. In fact, you are the same people who have questioned surgical strikes and air strikes. वहां पे भी आपने कहा था कि नहीं ये तो
but let's stick to the subject. Let's stick to the subject. Vineet Goenka, let's not go. Let's not go all over. Let's stick to the subjects, particularly when it comes to the president's position and the parliament, and some examples that come from state assemblies. In fact, just for the benefit of our viewers, let me reiterate that actually just this year, Telangana Chief Minister KCR Rao inaugurated the new Secretariat building, the new Assembly building, and again the governor was not present there. So there is a precedent of a Chief Minister doing it. Now you could argue that that's not our Chief Minister, but I don't remember anybody objecting to it. That's all I'm suggesting.
Indira ji inaugurated Maharashtra Vidhan Sabha, and Chief Minister, Governor, President, then all these three were absent that time.
Yeah, so that's the point, Ikram.
Yeah. So
was it okay when you did it? It's just not okay when BJP is doing it. And I come to the fundamental question I'm discussing before I go across to our other guests too. Is it purely about objecting to Narendra Modi? Because there will be for time immemorial, for posterity, a plaque commemorating his name, and that's why you're objecting to it. Because it's happened before, whether it's chief ministers or prime ministers.
Shivani, just give me 2 minutes because there's so much that Mr. Vineet said. First, he said about all the things that Mr. Udit Raj or Mr. Ajoy said. I'll just tell him, what did the Prime Minister say? He called the leader of the opposition as just...
Sir, you have to apologize for what they said.
Yeah,
wait, one by one.
When you are slinging mud on somebody else, listen. He called the ex-Prime Minister, who was at that time the Prime Minister Manmohan, saying that he takes a bath with a raincoat. Are you proud of that language that he used? Are you proud of that language? Just tell me that. When he said Didi, oh Didi to Mamata Banerjee, who's the Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal, that is such a great event, that so much of respect he's giving to a Chief Minister.
Okay, let's come back to the subject. Let's come back to the subject.
That my leader said, I can throw back 20 that your people have said.
Ikram, let's come back to the subject. In the heat of the moment,
as something is said, you hold it against me, I can throw back 20 points on you. So let's keep to what the discussion is.
No, but I think you have to
coming
understand. Insulting the president, that to a tribal woman, is not called for, sir. And you heart to heart, you also feel bad about that. And I'm sure you're
him that he takes a bath with a raincoat on is not right.
Okay, I'm not quite discussing who what baths at each other. Let's not go down that road. Let's discuss the subject at hand. I have to go across to Abhinandita and Sangeet Ragi too. Ikram, I'll give you 30 seconds to please finish your argument on just this subject.
So that is what I'm saying, that sometimes mudslinging happens, and I am somebody who's very clear about it, that no mudslinging should happen. But then do not have an
ordinance by Rajiv Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi ji.
Just give me 30 seconds and I'll explain. I am actually proud of that. It was an ordinance which came in that people with a criminal record should not stay in parliament. What did the ordinance say? That even if you are convicted for a criminal act,
then an elected prime minister, he comes out with an ordinance. Yeah. Somebody who is just a dynast, he hears it off, and you're proud of that.
Okay, somebody who stood for the right.
And what is about your opinion about distributing bungalows to non-elected?
Let's not go there. I'm just pulling away from both of these guests. Vinit Goenka, I'll request you to stay on to the subject. We cannot quite broad base this because we'll not really discuss the material at hand today. Abhinandita, I'm coming to you. My question remains the same. You look at demonetization, people went to court. You look at ED, CBI, opposition went to court. You look at the Central Vista project in itself. Now you look at this inauguration by the Prime Minister. You know, there is a pattern emerging that anything the current government does, either the opposition directly or, you know, people associated or part of the ecosystem go to court to stall it. Now, this is a pattern emerging and it's looking like you do this on every issue.
And there is also a pattern that, you know, perhaps what the central government is not abiding by some constitutional value, certain kind of morality that is required, or Raj Dharma, as you may say, that is required of a fine leader. I think that is the problem. That is the core problem, because of course there have been many instances of, you know, a strong opposition in the past. There have also been instances of, let's say, in the time of the emergency, where there were several draconian laws. And the opposition, including the BJP, had, you know, gone out of its way to protest. I mean, including leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji and so on. So I think for a healthy democracy, the opposition raising relevant points is not a problem. I don't think that itself is a problem. I think what is also apparent, and what is apparent to the people of India today, is that the way in which Mr. Modi's government is currently doing, you know, its own manmani with some amount of arrogance, without giving any footage to any other anybody else, including people within his own party, including, you know, the president. Look,
what is the objection here? Abhinandita, let me break this down. What's the objection here? As we know now, there are precedents to this.
Right. So the objection here is, one, I must say that there is no precedent to it, because the parliament has not been inaugurated in this sense before. So
but that's only because it's a pre-independent structure. If you go by other examples of parliament, additional buildings or state assemblies, there is a precedent that current political leaders did it, even those who were not in government.
No, there is a difference between, you have to understand it, there is a difference between the parliament, you know, which is the parliament, and who should inaugurate it should go without saying, because here you are also sending out a message to the rest of the world that the head of our state, who is at the moment a woman who is an Adivasi woman, and we are very proud of the fact that we've reached a place today where somebody like her is our president. We can't be more proud. The message that should have gone out to the world today is that, you know, that is the woman, that is the dynamic lady, that is what represents India.
And yet the Aam Aadmi Party boycotted that dynamic lady's speech just this year. Am I not supposed to call that out? Just this year, you boycotted the president's joint speech.
There are two things that, and you have to separate this. These are two very separate moments. These are also which require different kind of courtesies. Okay, so there is one, like I will not repeat myself. The Congress spokesperson did already elaborate on what the context of that walkout was. But here we are talking specifically of a very positive event.
Okay.
We are talking.
All right, fair enough. I'll go to Sangeet Ragi, but just the other question, Abhinandita, I want to ask you, and I'll give Ikram an opportunity as well.
Here for a minute?
Yeah, one second, Vinitji, 1 second. The other question I want to ask you is that, you know, this whole boycotting business, has this also become like an easy tool to register your protest? Why doesn't the opposition come together, be part of the event? Because as you're saying, the event is bigger than one party or the other. At least be part of the event, even if you register, opposition or disagreement. You're part of Indian politics. Why not be part of this event?
You're right. I'm sure that everybody in politics will agree that we would rather be doing many other things than having these debates about some very fundamental issues or the basic structure of a constitution. It's very unfortunate that we're having to do that, and I totally agree with you. I don't think it is some kind of a hobby for the opposition to get up in the morning and say, "Acha, chaliye, aaj kis pe protest kare." I don't think that is what is happening. You understand the hypocrisy of the BJP. On the one hand, in Delhi, they're saying that the elected government does not matter and LG is supreme. On the other hand, they don't have the sense, they don't have the respect to invite the President of India
for the Parliament event. Vinitji, just 1 second. Sangeet Ragi has not spoken. Let me bring him in. Sangeet Ragi, is this just looking like one of those things that the opposition feels they've got a tool to kind of project that the Narendra Modi government doesn't think about anybody else or even any other person, forget about other parties, and therefore hammer that message? And has the current government also gone wrong in that sense of giving that tool to the opposition? Why not involve the president?
I think there is still time.
Shivani.
Yes, Sangeet Ragi, go ahead.
Shivani, look who is talking about constitutional propriety and morality. A party in power in Delhi every day abuses the lieutenant governor here in Delhi. Passes the resolution, the ministers use abusive language, sit on dharna outside the residence of the governor rather than following a proper protocol. Look at who is talking about a party in power in Delhi who always have a contemptuous attitude towards the Prime Minister and the ministers of the Senate, and the Chief Minister apologizing for whatever he has said in the past, because he is always in habit of telling lie before the country. I think that this is then a boycott of the opposition is a political posturing before 2024. But in doing so, they have belittled themselves and lowered their own image in front of the people of this country. Their problem is they don't want to respect the President of India. Their problem is Narendra Modi. And everyone has their own, grudges. The way in Mahabharata, every character has its own, some kind of strings to follow. For example, the Congress and its juras, Srimati Sonia Gandhi, doesn't want that except for the Nehru-Gandhi family, others should be there to inaugurate such kind of a historical building, because this is the building which is going to serve the country at least for 2 years to come. So it's a temple of modern India. The Prime Minister is the architect, the man behind one who had the vision for it, the person who has executed it. It is not only this. When the Prime Minister says mother of democracy, he is completely, altering the discourse of the world. Because still now we have the Anglo-American tradition that it is the Greek who was the founding, who was the mother of democracy. Right. The Prime Minister is bringing on, and on the basis of the historical documents.
Fair enough, but when you say that he's the architect of it, Sangeet Ragi, when you say he's the architect of it, now maybe that's exactly the problem that the opposition, especially the Congress, has with the BJP. That actually it was the Congress that wanted to build a new parliament.
Shivani,
so is it fair to say that, okay, the credit of this should go to Narendra Modi and BJP alone?
No. Nobody is saying. My limited point is that they hate Narendra Modi because they feel that they are entitled. Gandhi Parivar is entitled. Otherwise, what was the role of Rahul Gandhi to be in the inauguration of Chhattisgarh Legislative Assembly? This chap who doesn't have the basic understanding and ethos of this nation, one who doesn't have the understanding of the culture and civilization of the country, He's a little kid in this domain.
Okay, let's not go personal against him.
Use all this
What
language.
for? What
He is
for?
showing his own
What
upbringing
for?
by speaking like
He was
Let's
invited. It's not a foul language. It's not a foul language. The person, the Rahul Gandhi says, Narendra Modi tu pitega, tu lathi se pitega. This is the language of a ruffian.
Okay.
This is not a non-parliamentary.
Sangeet Tyagi, this isn't about Rahul Gandhi alone. Okay, one second.
Language of a ruffian.
Sangeet Tyagi, you made your point. Can I just have Ikram with me? Ikram, one second. Vinit ji, we have time. Ikram, the point is fundamentally this. The Congress party has a history of naming institution after institution, scheme after scheme, big or small, after just one family. Not even all Congress prime ministers, mind you. Just one family's prime ministers. Right? On top of that, you've got Sonia Gandhi with no post, Rahul Gandhi with no connection, inaugurating state assemblies. Now, you could say there's a difference between inauguration and foundation lanes, stone laying, but frankly, for the public, there's no difference. How can the Congress party, now unfortunately you have to face this question, how can the Congress party of all parties, act like we didn't care for credit and we didn't care for naming everything after us?
Shivani, I'll just give you two examples here. They come up with the Tamil Nadu Assembly. Tamil Nadu Assembly was inaugurated by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Sonia Gandhi ji accompanied him, but it was inaugurated by the Prime Minister. Now, in the state, when you see the precedents that we have in our country, the Prime Minister comes at number 3 and the Governor follows him. So it was totally within the prerogative that he inaugurates it. When you're talking about Chhattisgarh, which happened in 2020, they just joined via video conferencing.
But why? People will ask the question, in what capacity Sonia Gandhi joined that? No, 1 second. In what capacity did Sonia Gandhi join that ceremonial activity? People will ask that question.
Come on, you had an activity in Assam when the inauguration
by
happened.
the governor of the state.
Time, Mr. Amit Shah was there, who was the president of BJP. In what capacity was he there?
No, but exactly. When you did it, how can you raise questions on others? They will obviously say you've done it in your time.
So we are not even raising that question that why Amit Shah ji was there when in 2016 the Assam Assembly was inaugurated. As the leader of the BJP, as the head of the BJP, he was well within his rights to be there. So let's not, go away from the track.
Okay, but the Prime Minister should not get to inaugurate the new Parliament.
Absolutely. This is something which is once in a lifetime, occurrence. It is happening after 75 years. It might happen after another 200 years. If the building is good, it will work till that time. The honor should go to the first citizen of the country.
Okay, Vinit Goenka. Final arguments, please.
About it.
Vinit Goenka. Yes, Abhinandita, I'll give you an opportunity. Vinit Goenka.
No, honor should have
So let me first answer.
Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah, sir, can I answer?
Have gone to Rahul
Sir, can I
Gandhi.
answer, please?
Okay, Sangeet Ragi, thank you.
He was
Thank
just
you.
present there on a VC. Get your facts right, sir.
Okay, sir,
He never
Vinit Goenka.
inaugurated anything.
Vinit Goenka.
Sir, I never spoke in between. Please allow me to complete my sentence, please. Sir, I would like to respond on what Abhinandita ji said about, manmani. What is called as manmani, I'll tell you. When the entire Delhi was suffering with COVID, spending 45 crore rupees of taxpayers on Sheesh Mahal of his own is called as manmani. What is called as manmani, Abhinandita ji? Making a policy of liquor so that you can siphon off money is called as manmani. What is manmani? An insult to the institution is when you say that Bharat Ratna should be given to Satyendra Jain, who is in the jail and who gets massages by rapists, is called as manmani. It is also called as manmani when you push Biharis and Purvanchalis out of Delhi in the peak of COVID. That is called as manmani.
Okay.
Madam, let me tell you one thing.
Absolute
You have to
lies. It
respect-
is just such rubbish. I'm really
It is
sorry.
also called as manmani. Madam, I never spoke in between when you were speaking rubbish. Maybe Kejriwal speaks rubbish.
No,
I don't
no.
speak.
Vinit
And
Goenka, please
insults
focus on the
Parliament.
subject and please finish your argument.
That is called as, madam, they spoke about manmani. Let me tell them example of manmani. Manmani is you spend 45 crore rupees on Sheesh Mahal, his
Okay.
own house. Manmani is when you push poor Biharis and Purvanchalis in the peak of COVID period out of Delhi. That is called as manmani. They insult the system, they insult the institutions, they insult the constitution, and they are anarchists. And now they are trying to insult the country. They insult the armed forces.
Abhinandita,
Kejriwal insulted the armed forces.
let her have a 30 seconds, please. Let her have a final 30 seconds. Abhinandita.
Thanks. I have one question.
Anarchists at the best. Those people who do not believe in this constitution, those people who don't want to respect this
Vinit
system.
ji, you must now give the opportunity to Abhinandita, please.
I'm आपको चांस मिलेगा because I have a question for you and you must answer
आप
this.
पहले बताइए ना कि बिहारियों को जब बाहर भेजा तो वो मनमानी नहीं था। सत्येंद्र जैन को भारत रत्न की बात करेंगे आप लोग शीश महल के ऊपर 45 करोड़ रुपए खर्चा करेंगे। शर्मी की हद होती है कि जब कोविड में लोग मर रहे थे तब आप जो होते स्कैंडल कर रहे थे लिकर का, और आप आके हमें वैल्यूज की बात करेंगे।
Okay. Vinit ji, you made your point. Vinit ji, you made your point. Please don't repeat the same thing, please. अभिनंदिता,
आपके लिए एक सवाल है जो आप पूरे देश को
मेरे सवाल का जवाब दीजिए। क्या कोविड के पीरियड में गरीब बिहारियों को और पूर्वांचलियों को धक्के देके
Okay, can I just have Abhinandita with me, please? Abhinandita, go ahead. Please finish your point.
Reply, or he can, tell the people that he has no reply. The question, and which is part of the debate, is that what is the reason why the central government has not invited Honorable President Srimati Murmuruji in the opening, in the inauguration of the parliament. ये आप हमें बताइए कि इतने बड़े मौके पे आज जो एक इतनी बड़ी बात है कि हमारे पास इतनी जबरदस्त हमारे प्रेसिडेंट हैं, आप ये बताइए पूरे कंट्री को, why is it that she has not been invited?
Okay. Vinit Goenka, I'll give you 30 seconds to respond precisely to that question, please.
No, they have to first tell the people. Those people who insult the constitutional values. Sanjay Singh would raise voice in the parliament to be an hooligan there. And those are the people who talk about Bharat Ratna to be given to a jailed person. These are the people, they will ask questions to us and we'll answer it. I would request her to respect the constitution, respect the event. Come on 28th May. It is an event where Savarkarji's birthday is there. It's a very big event for us. Please come.
Okay, Sangeet Ragi, 30 seconds. Just Sangeet Ragi, please.
30 seconds for me to Shivani.
Vikram ji, I don't have enough time, but Sangeet Ragi, because he's been waiting.
10 seconds.
Okay,
10 seconds.
Ikram ji, 10 seconds, then Sangeet Ragi takes the final word. 10 seconds.
Yeah. BJP and RSS always talks about Hindu tradition and Raj Dharam.
Yes.
Raj Dharam says that you should have magnanimity.
Okay.
And it is time that Narendra Modi shows magnanimity and agrees to what the whole nation is saying.
Okay.
And this sacred act of the inauguration of the new parliament should happen by the hands.
No, I cannot have this I cannot have it go on like this. Vinit ji, you had your opportunity. I just want Sangeet Ragi with me so that he can have his 30 seconds uninterrupted. Yes, sir, Sangeet Ragi.
Shivani, it is generosity of the Prime Minister that he has invited, and it requires a courtesy, on part of the opposition to join this. It is a historic occasion. My dear friends, ask your parties not to let lose this occasion. This is a historic moment indeed. We are having a temple of democracy, of new India. Why you are wasting on frivolous issues, spurious issues, whether it is in democracy or not, whether somebody has who should, in fact, the Prime Minister is the head of the government. Don't forget. It's also a constitutional position, and it is the Speaker who is the guardian of the building. It is the Speaker who has invited the Prime Minister. It is not the government which has done. It is the legislature which has invited the Prime Minister to inaugurate this building.
All right. I'll leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. We'll see what happens, but certainly as it stands, just a few days before the inauguration, it doesn't look like anyone will blink, and this face-off and standoff will continue.